Hello, welcome to another edition of Junkyard Hack. I'm going to do a short video on the Biscayne engine from the Biscayne, the Chevy 235 six-cylinder here that I have here, hanging off the crane there. And I have it disassembled. I have the bell housing, flywheel, clutch pressure plate, clutch fork and throth bearing, obviously disassembled here, as you see. The reason I'm putting this video together is because I found this unique, the way the bell housing was attached to the back of the engine. I've never encountered this before. Maybe it's because it's a six-cylinder. I don't know, but apparently this is unique to this engine from what I'm reading. To get to this, what I want to do is I want to get this engine up on the engine stand here that I just purchased and put together yesterday. And to do that, naturally, I had to remove the bell housing and the flywheel and so forth, clutch and pressure plate. So normally when you remove a bell housing, there's a series of bolts around the outside of the bell housing that you take off, and the engine itself has a flange that has the corresponding bolt holes that you bolt to. But this one here is a little different. If you see in here, this bolts underneath the flywheel. So to get to the bolts that hold the bell housing, you have to remove the clutch pressure plate, clutch fork, and flywheel to access them while the bell housing is still on. And you go in through the center. Let me see if I can get this right, through the bottom here and through this access panel here to unbolt 4 bolts to connect the bell housing to the engine. There's 2 bolts up top here, so it's a total of 6 bolts, but naturally these are easy to get to, so no problem there. So I've never encountered that. I thought all you'd have to do is, take about 4 or 5, 6 bolts out of around the perimeter of the bell housing, pull the bell housing off, and leave the flywheel on. Wouldn't have to mess with the flywheel or clutch or anything like that. But not this engine. This engine's a little different then. So anyway, what we're going to do here is clean all these parts up. I want to get this engine up on the engine stand when I get a bolt long enough to go through that through the part of the engine stand that holds it up and corresponds to this one right here. It's going to be this size here, and I got to get a let's see, whatever this is. Yeah, I got to get something like this size, whatever this is. I think this is 11/16, and I got to get it long enough to go through here. Long enough to go through here. See? So once I do that, I'll get the engine up on the engine stand, and we'll start working on it then. I'm not planning on using this engine. Probably not. It's an old worn out engine, been sitting a while. Even if I got it back together, it's a little 6-cylinder that doesn't get a lot of power and is not really that efficient, doesn't get that great gas mileage. So it's just an old tired engine. I'm just curious as to what the internals look like, and from there. So we'll see. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen to this one, but we'll see. My plan for the Biscayne is to put a small block Chevy, not an LS. I don't want to go that route. I don't want any electronic BS in there. Just a simple small block Chevy and possibly a TH350 3-speed transmission. Something that I can get inexpensive. The cheaper the better. I'd rather have a 307 or a 305 that runs good rather than a 350 that I have to build. So I mean, not looking to get a lot of power. I just need to, turn this into a cruiser. And a 305 or 307 is plenty enough engine for this. I mean, they sent it out of the factory with a 235, so it'll be better than that. Anyway, I got the engine compartment, as you well see, pretty well cleaned up. It's a little dirty, but it's all cleaned up. So that's done. I got the hood as body worked up as it's going to get. A little rough, but it's the way it is. I got red oxide primer on the sides there, on the fender, the door. I got the body work done on the bottom of the door. On the front and the back, had a hole right where that primer is. It's patched hole, and down there, I think I did a video, just did a video on that. Right here, that's pretty much done. So that's where we're at right now. And it's a rainy, crappy Sunday, so I'm gonna go back in the house and get warmed up and get cleaned up a little bit. You take care, have a great one.